Myanmar, known for its rich cultural heritage, has faced a profound crisis since the military coup on February 1, 2021. The country, which had been taking steps towards democracy, was plunged back into turmoil. The coup, led by the Tatmadaw, shattered the hopes of countless citizens yearning for a democratic future. Aung San Suu Kyi, the country's de facto leader, was detained along with other high-ranking officials from the National League for Democracy, NLD. The military seizure of power marked a devastating setback for Myanmar's fragile democracy. The coup was met with immediate condemnation from the international community. However, the military junta, led by Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, remained defiant, alleging widespread fraud in the 2020 general election. The military coup in Myanmar was triggered by the outcome of the 2020 general election, which saw the NLD secure a resounding victory. The military-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party, USDP, suffered a humiliating defeat. The military, accustomed to wielding significant power, refused to accept the results, alleging widespread voter fraud. International observers, including the Carter Center and Anne Frel, deemed the election largely free and fair. The military junta, led by Min Aung Hlaing, used these unsubstantiated allegations as a pretext to seize power. The junta's actions were a clear violation of the constitution, which had allowed for a gradual transition to democratic rule. The military's actions were driven by a combination of factors, including their vested interests in maintaining political and economic dominance. The military coup in Myanmar was met with widespread condemnation and resistance. Citizens from all walks of life rose up in defiance of the junta's illegitimate seizure of power. Protests erupted across the country, with people demanding the release of Aung San Suu Kyi and the restoration of democracy. The protests, initially peaceful, were met with a brutal response from the military. Security forces used live ammunition, tear gas and rubber bullets against unarmed protesters. The junta imposed internet blackouts, restricted travel, and enforced curfews to quell the protests. Journalists and activists were arrested, detained, and disappeared, their voices silenced. As the military junta intensified its crackdown, the nature of resistance in Myanmar transformed. Peaceful protests gave way to armed struggle. Disillusioned with the international community's muted response, some protesters took up arms. They formed People's Defense Forces, PDFs, loosely organized groups of civilians with little or no military training. The PDFs launched guerrilla attacks against military targets. The country descended into a state of civil war, with fighting spreading across different regions. Myanmar's current crisis is linked to its complex history and long-standing ethnic tensions. The country is home to over 135 officially recognized ethnic groups. The Bamar, the largest ethnic group, have traditionally dominated the country's politics and military. Various ethnic armed organizations, EAOs, have been engaged in armed struggles against the central government. The military's coup in 2021 has further inflamed ethnic tensions. The junta's crackdown has disproportionately impacted ethnic minority communities. Some EAOs have supported the pro-democracy movement, providing training and sanctuary to anti-coup activists and PDF fighters. The ongoing conflict in Myanmar has had a devastating impact on the country and its people. The fighting has resulted in a catastrophic humanitarian crisis, with millions displaced and essential services crippled. The United Nations estimates that over 1 million people have been internally displaced since the coup. Displacement camps are overcrowded and lack adequate access to basic necessities. The conflict has crippled Myanmar's healthcare system, with hospitals and clinics attacked or forced to close. The education sector has also been severely impacted, with schools forced to close. The economy has been devastated, with businesses closing, foreign investment drying up, and the value of the Myanmar kyat plummeting. The international community has been grappling with how to respond to the crisis in Myanmar. While there has been widespread condemnation of the coup, concrete actions have been limited. The United States, European Union, and other Western countries have imposed targeted sanctions on military leaders. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, has been criticized for its inaction. China has adopted a more ambiguous stance, expressing concern but continuing to support the junta. The path forward for Myanmar remains uncertain, with the military junta showing no signs of relinquishing power. A lasting solution will require a multifaceted approach that addresses the root causes of the conflict and sustained international pressure,